Hi everyone. This video that I am actually creating has been one that's been postponed for quite some time. Almost a year ago, I shared something very deep to my heart, and I was very emotional at that moment that I felt like sharing it. And honestly, I had no idea the amount of um, comments and messages and all kinds of feelings that I actually triggered with this specific video. And if you've been following me for quite some time, you might know what I'm talking about. It was actually about my son. I have been very open throughout this entire time about the fact that my son has ADHD, which is attention deficit disorder with hyperactivity. And it's been a very long road between as a mom and for my son as well, of course. And last year, I actually went to his IEP meeting at the beginning of the year. And I went and I fought for his rights. As the parent that I am supposed to do that for him. I'm supposed to be his voice. And what I'm going to share here is something that I had just been thinking about. And the main purpose of this video is to continue to be that voice and continue to create more awareness and continue to help every single parent in here, even if you don't have children with any, anything, no diagnosis or anything. This is good to know because you never know where, who you can help through this. And my purpose, I've learned something as a coach doing what I do, that paying it forward is always the right way to do it. Duplicating by sharing with others, because you never know what my struggle can do for other people. So that's how I see it. And that's why I'm his voice. That's why I'm very open, because my struggle as mom can be the light to another parent. And that is the main purpose behind it. I might share things that may trigger you, or that may get, maybe certain people feel certain way. I don't know. I'm saying this because everybody has their own way of thinking and understanding, and I only can respect that. But I do not allow anybody to give me no negative feedback for how I share my things, simply because I am 100% entitled to say whatever I want to say. I think I'm still in a free country, right? So as a mom, I shared last year how incredibly powerful that meeting was. I was fighting for my son's rights. My son got denied his speech therapies. I was misinformed. Let me just say it like this. Through his previous teacher and, well, one of his teachers. And I felt like that cannot be. And this is why I'm saying this, because sometimes we want to do the right things for our children. And a lot of times, the fact that we just probably hear one opinion and we don't look deeper and search further makes us get even a worse outcome. And as a parent, let me tell you, you have more rights than what you believe. Okay? So my son has an IP. This is what an IP is. And I'm going to be very informative in this video. That's an IP. He started on these on first grade. An IP, if you do not know, is individualized education program. That is what it's called. And this is only given to children who are struggling, to children who have, a few setbacks in their education. They go through a process of, evaluating and all that stuff. And they determine through the evaluation, what are, depending on the scores, if they truly are, and what level they are. Number one, they can be deficient, they can be regular, or they can be above range. It depends. But when it's below average, that means that they need to get an IP for extra support. That's what an IP is. They get extra support. So I actually had the opportunity a few years back, before I became a full-time Beachbody coach, to work in an office that was affiliated with the Department of Ed. And at the moment when I got hired, I had a few months that I found out that my son was, diagnosed with ADHD. So this was something that was in the process of me learning everything. As any parent, we know that we never want anything bad to happen to our children, right? Who wants to see their kids struggle? Who wants their kids to be diagnosed with whatever it is, None of us do. But sadly, this society is becoming more and more toxic. And what I mean is, people are more focused on about what other people think or even themselves. They worry so much about themselves that they forget that the person that needs the help is not them, but their child. So as a parent, it used to be very upsetting when these children were so delayed in certain areas. They will go and get evaluated. The parents were even giving a very hard time just for the evaluation because they felt that they were being labeled. I'm going to tell you one thing about labels. Labels are created by ignorant people. And you can sense the tone of voice when I speak about this because it really goes under my skin. And you know why I say this? Because labels are only created by ignorant people and those who believe in it. There's no such thing as a label. There's no such thing as a special this or special that. We are special because God created us. Do you know that? I am freaking special. God was the one that created me. So I don't need nobody to tell me because of some condition or some diagnosis that I'm special. Because I freaking am. Ever since I'm born. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the more people follow through with these kind of things, the more contaminated our kids are going to be. The reason why there are so many people struggling with self-esteem and they have no freaking diagnosis is because they have been believing things on themselves from that perspective. And as a mom, it is my job to never allow anybody make my son feel in no way, absolutely no way. Not because he was diagnosed with that means that he has to be treated any certain way. There is no way I would ever allow that. My son is an amazing kid with so many things. Oh my God, he's very talented. He has so many abilities and he's extremely special because God created him. That's it. He did not ask to have that condition. Neither did I. I didn't do absolutely anything wrong, in case you know. And in this case, children that have ADHD mostly are boys. There's a higher percentage of male getting this condition than girls. And a lot of times it's genetic. A lot. Very high percentage of the time it comes from maybe a family member. So you must know this as well. And the reason, like I said, I share this is because we must learn to educate ourselves before we point fingers at others. The moment that you see that your child is not speaking at 2 years old, the moment that you see that your child is a little out of it, the moment that you see that your child is super hyper and there's nothing that can control them, my advice is to get them evaluated. And there is nothing wrong with evaluations. You are only looking for options and really getting down to the root of the reason why they're behaving the way they are. Kids are giving us signs many ways to let us know when something is wrong. My son started with his speech delay. And this is why he has an IEP. Because his speech delay got him to have a learning disability because he struggles a lot with his reading and writing. And speech delays lead to that specific problem. In case you didn't know, when a child's behind in their speech, they tend to take longer at the beginning of school years, like kindergarten, first grade, and second grade, to learn everything, to learn how to read, to learn the entire system because of that, the fact that they are a little delayed. If they receive therapy, they are more than likely, if they receive it early, they more than likely will overcome that. But if it's something extremely severe, it will take longer. But there's no reason why you should keep your children from getting the help they need. How will you feel? I'm speaking to you now. How will you feel if you know that there's something inside of you that the more that you try, you cannot get it done? And you don't know why, and you feel frustrated, and that makes you feel certain ways. Wouldn't you want somebody to help you? Wouldn't you want that person, even your parent, to lend that hand to you because you know that you struggle a lot with that? It's your responsibility as a parent to feel that way, not to think about a freaking label. Who the hell cares about what the society thinks? That is why the society is the way it is. Because people are so focused on other shit, and I'm sorry that I'm cursing, that they don't understand that the main reason why people are going downhill, all this bullying is going around, everything is because people are not focusing on what they need to. You are not focusing enough on their needs of your children. We need to stop being so freaking selfish and allowing other voices be the ones to determine what are the right things that we need to do as parents for our children. I bet that there would be so much more progress. But then, no. You think it was easy for me to know that my son had that condition? I had no idea. I had to thank God for my family, that my aunt is a psychologist, and she works very with a team that focuses as well on kids who have my son's condition, also autism and other conditions. And they were the ones that educated me. And when I said yes to medication, because my son is medicated, because he needs it, not because I'm crazy or because I'm trying to calm, no. There is a purpose behind the medication. And that is another thing that a lot of parents struggle with. You must do your research as to why the medication is needed and for what is the purpose. We have the internet. We have smartphones that we use every day to be on other people's business instead of doing our research. You want to know more about what's going on with your children? Go to Google. There's an app called Google. And you can Google any signs, you can Google anything, and you can figure it out yourself so you can make the best decision for their well-being. Remember, you're not doing this for you. You're doing it for them so they can have at least hope that they're going to get a better future. Not because of a child is a straight A student means that they don't struggle. How much time are you investing figuring it out if they're getting bullied at school? How much time are you investing figuring out what goes on inside? My son, one of the reasons, one of the main things that they go through is emotional. And let me tell you, the crisis that my son and I had together were not easy. First grade was extremely difficult for Jeremiah. Was a year that marked his life, that really messed his self-esteem because he just couldn't read and he didn't understand why. And I was crying hysterically because I felt so helpless. But crying and feeling helpless was not going to do any good for him, right? So I got my big girl panties. I put them up and I tied them up and I said, I have to do my research and I have to look for other options, whatever it takes to get my son where he needs to be. And that's what I did. He had to repeat first grade. And every single year, Jeremiah was struggling the first at least 4 months. The second time he repeated first grade and when he went to second grade. Every year I've heard the first months. Oh, Jeremiah actually got into a half general and half IEP, which is special education class. We realized at that meeting last year that Jeremiah was not really focusing the way he should have, simply because it was becoming very overwhelming. He gets very anxious when he's not paying attention. The fact that he was struggling with self-esteem was also affecting him. So this is like a whole combination. And I had to look for other options. And I went as the mom that I am, and I started looking for other options. Thank God that I had that previous job that showed me so much, and I learned so much about my rights. You are your child's voice. And in that school, they know me from top to bottom because they know I don't put up with anything. And I want to know everything with detail because I have to make sure that everything he's given is the right thing for him. And I agreed last year that he was going to go into a small class. Oh my God, I said it. The word small class. It's so sad. It's extremely sad to see parents with that kind of ignorance. I wish that all kids would go to a small class. You know what it is to be in a class with 12 children or less and 3 teachers making sure that you get to where you need to be? Come on. There are all these children in these classes that are overly packed, over capacity, filled with all these kids, with one teacher who's overwhelmed because she don't know what to do with all these kids with all kinds of personalities and behaviors, and she can only do her job. Meanwhile, I made the decision last year. I said, I don't care about labels. I care about my son. If that's what he needs, due to what we were seeing, that's what he's going to get. Jeremiah, the first week, he has difficulty with transitioning. And that first week was a little difficult because he never been in a small class. But after that week, guess what's happening? Do you see that? Do you see that? Do you see that? Can you see that? Because I made the right decision for him. Because I did not allow any labels keep my son from what he deserved. Because I am his voice. And because I am not backing down or giving up for him. Now the question is, how much are you willing to do for them? And how much are you willing to push that mentality to the side, all those fears for what other people think, just because your child is not average? You gotta stop that. And I really mean it. I really mean it. Whoever it is that's struggling here in his own denial about their child, I highly tell you this. And from the bottom of my heart, I tell you this. I only wish that this video can do something to wake you up. Simply because it is so sad to see what this society is turning into, what these teenagers are becoming, simply because a lot of parents are on denial. It's so sad to see how kids are bullying their kids, other kids. My son has been through 3 bullying cases, and I go and I fight for him. And what do I get? What he needs, because I am his voice. And that is why I decided to also work from home, which I thank God that I'm able to now. Thank God to becoming a coach, by the way. Yes, I have been able to be home. My son is no longer struggling emotionally. He's no longer having emotional breakdowns. Jeremiah has become another child ever since I've been home. And it's because I no longer need to take time off to be there for him or to be rushing like crazy to be here. What used to take 3 and 4 hours of homework is now taking him an hour because he's so incredibly confident. He's so into doing his work. My son always hated to do homework. He would say, Ma, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. He would cry. And this year, Ma, here's the homework. Let's get it done. Every single step that I have taken has taken a lot of courage, a lot of thought, a lot of searching, because that's my job. And dedicate my heart and soul to him. And a lot of tears. But I know that he's going the right way because he's showing it. And not because I'm getting these. This is just, a way to acknowledge their hard work. And of course, who doesn't like to be acknowledged? But you know what this tells me? That my son is doing incredibly good in school. That he's almost at his level. That is huge for me. Huge. He's standing out in most of the things that he's doing. And you know why? Because he's finally in the environment that is the right fit for him. Neither above or below, but for him. And he took that decision, that brave decision, for him to get here. My son went from not reading the letter A or B to reading everything now. Yes, he has his days. And yes, he struggles with 4 and 5 and more syllable words. But we're working on it. And I know that by the end of the year, he will be doing a much, much, much better job. Don't dig yourself in a deeper hole just because you are allowing the noise keep your children from getting what they need. The level of ignorance due to because to me that's being selfish, thinking about what other people think instead of what they truly need, doing the research to get them the right thing. That is selfish. Stop being selfish. God gave you a huge blessing. Don't be the person to label your kids. Because labels exist because you are the one that allows them. I don't allow any of that in my house. We are freaking superstars in here. But I really want to put this out there because I am going to continue to fight to be that voice for Jeremiah and for every other child that needs it. And continue to create awareness in this because every single day we're getting more and more cases and people with less and less knowledge on what to do. Do your research. If you sit hours on the internet trying to figure out other people's life, why you cannot do that for your own child? Be serious because this is going to be something major for your child's life. That's going to be an impact that's going to change his life for good or bad. And why you should keep them from that. Why you should keep them from that. Why? I really hope, I only can hope that at least a few or one person is changed after this video. Because you are not taking all this time just to watch something. This is very powerful. And it can change your life as a parent and your child's life for good. Do what's right, not what others think. Nobody in the world would know the struggle of your child more than you. Don't hold back. Be there for them. Even if they are freaking honor roll students or whatever they are. Always be there. Always take time and invest time to get to know them better. To get them to trust you. To get them to love you even deeper. Be their hero. Be their voice. When my son last month did a drawing and he said that I was his hero, that to me meant more than anything in life. Because all I'm doing is just being there for him. And this is what he thinks of me. You are their hero, but you must show it. It's not by giving them all the materialistic things. Don't fulfill that void with things that only money can buy. You know why? Because that void will never be fulfilled. Be there. Take this message strongly and go and do something about it. There are many resources. There are many things for us parents to do for our children. Don't sit around. Don't go in that direction if you are that parent struggling. And don't back down. If you see that your child's not improving, if you see that your child's not getting anywhere, keep doing your research. Keep going for other opinions. Do whatever it takes. But you are responsible for their well-being. And you have to give your 100% for them to be okay. If you really want them to be that person that you dream them to be in the future. Be that hero. That is the message that I wanted to put in today. And yes, this is a long ass video. If you feel like watching it, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm only extremely proud of the kind of progress my son has made. It's only fair for me to pay it forward and share with people where we have been and what's to come. Have a great day, everyone.